Why, hello. You can call me Host Eric. I'm the host of Talking with Famous People. And DDX098, my friend from the Middle East, has sent me a question in the email that I'm going to answer. What function relates to the most to creating structures? For example, when reading a book, I must first know the count and the names of its chapters. When my OCD is not under good regulation, I attempt to estimate the density of topic coverage by comparing the gaps between numbers in the table of contents page. The same is applied in other scenarios in my life. I have an urge for creating maps, summaries, etc. The good thing, when I do so, I never forget the information. I still remember summaries I wrote a long time ago, and I can produce them from memory as well. It helped me a lot during my study. The bad thing, I fail to learn quickly by listening. If you only listen and don't make your own map. If a teacher gives a sudden quiz after she just explained the information, then there's little chance I will do well. I overcome this challenge by preparing for school lessons early. I seldom come to class without reading materials first. My only question is this. What function causes this and why? Good question, DDX098. This mapping, this need to see things from the topmost vantage point, I think links to intuition high up in general. So for a long time I felt as though I was continually trying to climb up some infinitely large abstract mountain of meta levels that never had a top. And I continued to feel that way until I really got into cognitive functions and I realized, oh, there is a top. I just assumed there never really was a top, but actually there is. It's kind of weird. So it's like, I don't think it necessarily goes NI or NE. I think it has to do with being intuition, probably first or second. But, it's like, it's important to remember that the most abstract types and what you're talking about here are not exactly the same thing. So, this sounds like NITE to me. That you need an NI overview of the thing, and you need to TE your own education. And this is something I've encountered with INTJs before. DDX098. DDX098 is an INTJ. She's a lady from the Middle East who I checked one time and who I occasionally chat with. And who talked to me at one point about her challenges doing presentations. like why would you have a presentation in a coding class? It's just so dumb, right? Well, it's obviously some ENFP or I don't know, some kind of teacher that expects people to perform on command. And I guess she keeps getting marked down for shitty FE basically. She's getting a bad grade for polar FE. Well, there's nothing she can do about that, as I explained to her. Like, you can't unpolar FE yourself. So anyway, as far as this maps thing goes, I generally think that what you're talking about here sounds like NITE, because the one thing that I don't identify with at all here is, in fact, I identify with the opposite, is you say, I fail to learn quickly by listening to others only and not making my own map. I've always found in classes and stuff that I can mostly pick up everything I needed to just by listening. Although I'd write some things down. But I guess the thing is, the difference between the way I approach school and the way you're explaining here is I did not know exactly that was the problem. I didn't figure out till later on that I needed an overview. that I wasn't having access to. I realized by the time I was out of college and when I went into a Spanish class, it occurred to me, um, oh, what I want is very different than what they're doing. I want them to give me all of the grammar and I want them to give me all of the verb conjugations so that I understand the uh, structural elements of the language, and then I can look up and fill in vocabulary as needed. Instead, they want to teach you phrases and not necessarily have to understand grammar to speak the language, you know. But since I already understood grammar pretty well, not as well as I do now, but even at the time I understood grammar reasonably well. I wanted to, I wanted to know all the tenses and stuff first. So that was the first time that it really occurred to me what you're saying here, which is that part of what you're saying, which is that you you want to have an overview map first before you begin to tackle a given subject matter because you want to be able to link it back to the framework, which is to say, what is this thing supposed to be? Why are we studying it? And that's how I can impact each of the things I learn accordingly. You know, so if you don't have a frame of reference in which to impact the things you're learning, it's just information that doesn't seem to stick in one's mind much because there aren't linkages to ideational nodes that are significant. So I think that's the main difference between, say, how an intuition dominant and a sensing dominant would approach a class or any given matter of abstraction is, foremost, the intuitive needs linkages to significant points within abstract landscapes, not within their own lives, and that's the main difference. Okay, so thanks for watching. Never Forget to Eat Plenty of Cheese. That didn't work. Maybe I should just use the mouse.